Saturday, the 7th of February 2026. Just going to have a further follow up on family history of my dad. I felt I didn't know him, and I said, I did know him. I saw him through a child's eyes, but I didn't have an adult understanding of what he had gone through. Now, he had lived in the tenements, and I don't know where he ended up in, but he did. His father got him an apprenticeship in the Dublin Japan Works, which, as a sheet metal worker, trainee, apprentice, a 5-year apprenticeship, and he had to promise loyalty to his employer, etc. So it ended up he got a job in Wales. How he got into Wales, I don't know, because my father had Republican tendencies and was active with his older brother Sean in the IRA in the War of Independence. Now, he would have been young, so he was probably carrying messages and things like that. However, he got into Wales, which was a Protestant factory, and noted for that. And the sports they had were things like tennis, soccer, hockey, rugby. But he started a Gaelic football team there, the O'Donovan Rossa. Now, how the hell he got in with a nationalist background into a British firm with British loyalties, I don't know. But the thing is, he did. And he managed to save money. How he accumulated enough money to buy a house on Jamestown Road in Chicore, I don't know. It was some achievement. And yeah, in ways I'm like that. I save my money, and I know when I was younger, say 30, I bought the site in Wexford. That was unusual. And then I later accumulated money. I was able to buy half the house and Ma the other half, because Ma wanted to move to somewhere better. And we moved to Whitecliffe in Rafarnham, and she was delighted with that. So I did have the saving instinct, me dad, but I was never interested in making money out of letting the site out in Wexford, or letting, making sure that property returned an income. I never wasn't bothered about that. However, yeah, growing up, yes, a lovely. Ao was his favourite, and Ao had a lovely story about. He was in the back garden and he found a penny on the grass, and then he looked around and he saw another one. Dad was up at the top window throwing pennies out to Ao. Ao couldn't believe his luck that there were pennies in the garden, so he went around looking for more, and the more he looked, the more Dad threw out. I think it's a lovely story. It shows the size of him and the humour of him, yeah. But besides that, he was an honest man. Yeah. Devout Catholic. He had a great devotion to Our Lady. And my cousin Rowley said he was a Catholic. Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah. But he was straight. There was little or no double talk from him. However, when he was older, or when we were older, Adrian and myself, he had already started a football team in Wales called the O'Donovan Rossa, a Republican patriot. And Adrian and I used to go watch them training. And then when they were playing matches, if they were short, we had jerseys put on us, 12, 13, 14 years of age sort of thing. And we were in the full back positions. And I remember one Sunday, damp out day, the maroon jerseys on us, and Ao and I were positioned in the sort of full back positions. And I remember the ball came, and Ao grabbed it, got it, and he swung around, giving a mighty kick, and he set it into the goal. He got a goal, but it was his own goal, and everybody fell around laughing. Ao never forgot it. They all laughing at him. So he said to me, that was the last game of football I ever played. Yeah. So poor old Dad then, we were only, say, 12, 13, 14. Around, I reckon I was 14 and a half. And Dad got illness in the stomach. Don't know what it was. But he was out of work in the hospital, at hospital and at home for 18 months. And he ended up in St. James Hospital, and he was dying, and I hadn't a clue, not a clue. I remember some priest was in there, and he said to Ma, I think Our Lady is calling your husband. Excuse me. So poor old Ma was very upset. It still didn't dawn on me. You think it would have, but it didn't. And 2 days before my 17th birthday, he was on his last, and I hadn't a clue. And he said to me, will you look after your mother? I nodded, but God, how foolish can I be? How foolish can we all be? I don't know. However, he died, the poor man. And the employers were very good wills. So my mother and I went down for an interview with the personnel manager. And they were sussing out the new man needed more money. Would I like a job in the factory? Now, Ma had indoctrinated me. You're not a factory worker. You're not going to work in a factory. Despite our father, her husband, was a factory worker, right? So at that time, I'd been working only for a short period, 6-8 months, as an articled clerk in Dublin. I used to cycle in, and I used to do some minor auditing. I went to fancy pubs, and I knew all about the liqueurs and whiskies and all the rest of it. And they knew that I was an articled clerk and that I wasn't going into any factory, and I was adamant I wasn't. However, they were pretty good. They put me into a clerical job in their sister company, Players, in Glasnevin. That's where I headed off to. And I soon learned that, 3 things, young kids going in. Be on time. I had always difficulty with that one. Your shoes shining bright. That's why we got the habit of always cleaning our shoes on the back of our trousers or socks, And the other thing was to have a smart suit. Ao reminded me how he used to look at me. I put my trousers wrapped in brown paper under the mattress so as to save me pressing them. And that was it. And now if I cycle to work every morning in my uniform, and that was it. Well, I soon later realised that it was more than wearing the uniform, that you had to do good work, and good work meant being reliable, getting the job done, and providing truthful statistics, no slipshod work, And as a result, I didn't realise that I had those qualities, but I did, and that's what got me moved up the ladder. However, Dad died, and yes, I went to work. Ao went to Bolton Street Tech. The Tech was where people who had done their inter could go to if they couldn't afford to go to college. And that's the way it was. They now call it a technical college. The emphasis on the word college. It's a good place. He did well out of that. Bronwyn, yeah, she gave Ma trouble in school, and there was lots of disputes about her with this one and that one. And but Ma looked after Bronwyn well. She dressed her well. She got plenty of clothes and things. And Ma was good. She got her into a very high class secretarial college in Grafton Street. And besides the secretarial duties, they taught her how to dress properly, how to behave at meetings and all that. That stood to her good. So Ma always had the eye out for what was best for all of us. And I think she enjoyed talking about how successful her children were. I think she bored people with that carry on. However, that was it. Yeah, proud of my father when I realised what he had achieved. And of course, he died. He was only 53 or something. Yeah, short life. The way things are today. That's it, Slán Inis.